All right. So how am I sounding now, Beat?
Much better.
All right. So yeah. So any. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention, Daryl. If you look in the show docs, Beatmaster
Yeah.
brilliant writes brilliant little like one sentence reviews.
Yeah,
It,
no, I've seen that. That actually appeals to a huge nerd part of me anyway.
yeah. And I did not know that Star Wars Rebels season 2 was already started. I did.
Oh, you missed some good ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up on that. I'm so behind on Librarians as well. But
That's that's one of those shows that sometimes I watch and it annoys me.
what the Librarians?
Yeah.
It's it's weird because it's in the same place for me of Ash versus Evil Dead, where it's campy but in a good way. Like so it predates Ash versus Evil Dead, so it's I guess you could switch them around, but it's like that good little family. It reminds me of the of TGIF in a way, like it's bring all the family together and watch something that's going to appeal to everyone. Where Ash is just campy horror. Oh,
But
excuse me.
it's fun like Eureka and Warehouse 14.
Yeah. So B, am I still clipping or
No, it's very good now.
okay? Cool. So yeah, let's start the show because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're recording right now. We have a viewer. Hi, viewer. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to What Else Is On, the show on the Else Nerds Network, where we talk about the TV and movies that we've watched over the past week. I'm Gregor Sprague, and joining me this week is Darryl Johnston, an actual real-life British person. So, in a way, we could almost name this the Pod Save the Queen, the short-lived podcast that I did where I talked about British TV shows, but I don't know. But Darryl is the host of Who News and Reviews on Galactic Netcasts. Darryl, how you doing?
Yeah, hey, not too bad. I'm going to be very mindful not to call you Corey and remember that it's Gregor that I'm talking to.
Uh,
Yeah, not doing
no,
too
no,
bad
it's
at
we're
all.
interchangeable.
Excellent.
The only difference. The only difference is, um, oh, hey, Linux Switch, special shout out because she just posted an IRC that she's watching. Um, one of the people I do Minecraft with. Um, but yeah, the only difference is Corey. You will get him to rant way easier on Man of Steel. Like it has become a secret little game that I have with myself of what ways can I get that will get him to rant about how much he hated Man of Steel.
You see, it's probably just as well that he's writing or whatever it is he's doing because otherwise this could go on a long time because I can rant about Man of Steel as well. But we should probably just draw a line there.
Yeah. But so tell us real quick about Who News and Reviews because it started off as just Who News, and then we got the new series out, and so now it's Who News and Reviews.
Well, like most Englishmen, I'm a bit of an egomaniac and like the sound of my own voice. So when the Galactic Netcast sort of approached me and said, "Hey, how about you just put together like a little news reel?" I started doing so, and it started off as just 2 minutes long, set to a version of the theme tune, just for a bit of fun, really. I actually used to record them at work. But since the series started, I started doing little reviews. My notes are getting more and more extensive, and most of the reviews is just me talking non-stop for about 15 minutes. Like I say, egomaniac. But it's something that I enjoy doing and something that I enjoy contributing because, as you know, it's now 2:30 in the morning, so I can't always drop into podcast mode and do the live shows like I'm doing now. So
No,
yeah,
yeah,
that's it in a nutshell.
no, yeah. So it's cool to have you on, and so we have, and again, this is very Britishly themed. It wasn't my full intentions, but the other news stories just seemed like utter shit, to put lack of a better term. So the first one is a deal for you and every other British person who watches, which I think is like four other people out of our 8 viewers. That's Amazon is offering Prime memberships in the UK for £59, As a dumb American, I do not know what that translates to dollars. I don't care. It sounds like a deal. Use it.
It's basically, yeah, to translate that into American, $30 off the normal list price, or 20 quid off. How do I
Yeah,
know this? Because I signed up yesterday, because that's 20 quid off.
yeah,
That's a bargain. Not only do you get your films, but obviously your 1 day posting. You'll make that back at Christmas, trust me.
yeah. But no, it's really cool because you're gonna get a lot of this stuff. Like you're gonna get Mr. Robot over there, which is a brilliant,
Just
fan,
started watching it.
yeah, brilliant, twisted, mind fucky TV show that, in a lot of ways, is like Fight Club in the psychedelic, mind trip stuff, and is just really good. I'm loving it. I love that show. I cannot wait for that to come back. Um, but the new Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, James May motor show over there, which I just saw the advertisement for again for the Amazon Fire TV stick, done by Clarkson, and I had to laugh. I'm like, yes, please. um, and then what else? Man in the High Castle. There's a lot of great stuff out there, but it
Well, Man in the
hasn't.
High Castle looks fantastic.
Yeah, that's coming this Friday actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jessica Jones Day hasn't got a choice.
yeah.
I'm gonna snowball tell chance in hell. It's not gonna happen. Jessica Jones all the way, and then Man in the High Castle.
Oh shoot, maybe this will be homework for Dave then. Sorry, I'm thinking ahead. I'm
No,
thinking ahead.
that's good. Give Dave loads of homework.
And but oh gosh, no, but yeah, so Dave, if you're listening, Jessica Jones, I will be talking about it. Um but no, and it's cool because and again, it's not just the TV shows for in the Prime membership. That's the you get music as well. You get I think you get storage space in there. And the opportunity to use Prime.
Unlimited photo storage space.
Yeah, yeah, that's big
I, I
for
don't know
people
about
who are
you.
photographers.
Oh, well, I use 3 different G drives, 3 different Gmail accounts. Yeah,
Hmm.
all of them have got about 5% storage left.
Oh gosh.
So that's a big thing for it's worth it.
Yeah. And then also, if you live in if you're in London or Birmingham, you can use Prime Now, which is Amazon's 1 hour delivery service. And so it's just really cool. And there's going to be other stuff. You get early access to Amazon's Black Friday and Lightning deals. So hey, this is just a PSA for you, for all of the British people out there. Amazon Prime, really cheap. Go get it. Um, the next news story that is one you actually brought to my attention, and that Channel 4, their E4, which okay, describe to the Americans what E4 is, because to me it seems like it's more geared for younger people.
No, that's true. I suppose it's their youth channel. Although E4 has become a bit of a dumping ground for various different things. Um, I wish I could give you the full structure of the Channel 4. Channel 4 is the main channel. Then they have More 4, which is repeats from Channel 4. Then they have E4, which is the youth channel. But it's all a big melting pot, and they will all
Yeah,
end up sooner or later on the main channel, or vice versa. But yeah, E4 is primarily youth. Although when the shows get big, like Humans did earlier on in the year,
hmm,
it will show on the main channel.
yeah. Well, the news here is that E4 or so Channel 4 has announced a new mind-bending comedy drama titled Tripped, and this stars Blake Harrison from The Inbetweeners, who from this what it sounds like is he's the only recognizable name. They're going more the Skins approach and bringing in up and coming people who haven't really made a name for themselves yet, in the show, set in parallel universes. So not even just one, but multiple. And so, and looking through this, it sounds really cool. This sounds like again sci-fi spewing or skewing. Um, Written by a dude who worked on Doctor Who, Jamie Matheson. Um, who they commissioned the scripts from him, and it just everything I'm seeing here, it's like check, yep, gonna watch it, gonna watch it. I can't really tell you too much about it because again, I don't know. I more visual reading, small print here is also not helping. Um, so what is you read the article? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So
There's,
what's
there's even a clip that, and I would say this looks like what happens when you smash spaced into sliders. It has a very sliders feel to it, although they're not jumping through a giant artificial wormhole. But it looks fun. It looks quite fast paced as well. And as the show is called Tripped, there is, as you've alluded to, a sort of heavy drug element to it. Now, whether that actually plays a part or not, or whether that is just the first in the show, but it looks well. I wouldn't put it in the news if I thought it was going to be a turkey. This is yet another one which is going to clog up my PVR, and it's going to mean that I'm not going to ever clear it down.
that also seems to be
It's always going to be at that 3%.
yeah. That also seems to be the other common thread with my co-hosts. With Corey, it's like DVR is constantly full. I'm pretty sure Matt's DVR is full if Matt has a DVR. Same thing with Brad. It's just like my queue is really long with all the stuff I need to watch from Hulu and Netflix and BBC and Channel 4 thanks to VPNs. Oh wait, what? Who said that? But yeah, so really cool science show or sci-fi show. Did they say when it's coming out? Like, did they give a time frame on?
They said 2016.
Yeah.
I think.
So,
oh, see, I can't access the article because if I do, I'll lose you. Such is life in rural England.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. So let's get into the show, and I guess this will be like a first live Who news and reviews for you.
Yeah, sure.
Because we're gonna talk Doctor Who, because where Corey, I saved Doctor Who from him because it sounds like he's falling out of love with Doctor Who, which is cool. It's all cool. We're still friends, but to hear from you and hear from Brad and Matt, just sort of brushed over him because he don't like Doctor Who, but did bring up an interesting idea for a show, sort of deal. So Doctor Who, give our audience here your general take over this whole first part of the series.
Okay, well, they've just aired, was it number 9 so it was up until number 8. It was a series of 2-parters, and some of the finest written science fiction, not just for Doctor Who, but in general.
Yeah.
Some of the I know sometimes it's easy to misunderstand. Well, how can a show take 9 months to produce when you've only got 12 episodes? But when you look at the production values in place, not only is it well written, but it's well produced. Apart from the one that's just been on. Now that's a. You probably don't know what a Marmite episode is. You probably do. You know Marmite? Are you
I've
familiar
heard
with Marmite.
Okay.
It's a salty spread that you either love or you hate.
Yeah.
And that was the last episode. Sleep No More. That was the last episode. But it's a stalwart of science fiction. If you've seen a film about it, then the idea first appeared on Doctor Who. That's what I like. But then again, after 50 years to troll from. But I think this series of Doctor Who has been some of the finest writing of television. Now, of course, we've just had, like I said, the one turkey episode for me, but if I watched a show and every episode was brilliant, then it's got a lot to live up to. So I actually quite like we've got a nice wavy line. But if you're not familiar with the show, really really, really, though, people, really. If you're not familiar with it, it's a 50-year-old show, or 51-year-old now, about a man who leaves his people for whatever reason and decides to explore. And that is the essence of the show. You can take the sci-fi element completely out of Doctor Who, and it still works as a premise. It's the constant journey of self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can throw in the science fiction, and it's a constant journey of self-discovery based around the universe, or the known universe, or the multiverse. And you can then put as much or as little sci-fi influence into it as you can. Of course, there's the debate this series with regards to the sonic sunglasses. However, and believe me, I was filled with apoplectic rage. How can you? And then Stephen Moffat said a really clever thing. Yeah. You now buy a child a pair of sunglasses, a cheap dollar pair of sunglasses. Yeah. He puts them on. He's the doctor.
Yeah.
You haven't had to go and buy a merchandised product for $10. You haven't had to do anything like that. Yeah. Just for a chuckaway dollar. Yeah, I've got mine kicking around the house somewhere.
Yeah.
Just for $1, now you're the doctor. And that makes you cool. And so, one of the show's about reinvention anyway. So, can you be really angry when the doctor reinvents something? I don't think so. It's like I say, I can understand why people don't watch it.
Yeah.
You know, like the likes of the Matt Steins of this world. I mean, you know, I have offered to go at some length to try and hook him into the show. You know, I'll start with episode 1, you know, An Earth Child. I'll start that far back, but he's not keen. He's not keen.
No, yeah. And, I mean, so overall this season for me, or series, sorry, I switched between doing the British version and the American version. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed these two-parters, and it threw me a little bit because I got through Sleep No More, and I'm like, wait, there's supposed to be two-parters. How is the next episode of the showing going to tie into this one? And I'm like, well, I guess not. And even with the previous two-parter with the Zygons, the Zygon invasion. Shut up, Clarkson. Oh, sorry, text message on there. I should silence my phone, but I don't. But no, with the Zygon invasion and inversion, bringing back Osgood, that to me felt like, okay, you just retconned a situation with the death of Osgood in last season, but made it feel like, okay, yeah, it made it feel acceptable to me.
You didn't mind being cheated.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. And it doesn't help that the actress in there is smoking hot, in my opinion. But then even you go to where they tie it back to the 50th anniversary, and I'm like, no! You're gonna make me want to watch everything all over again once the show ends. Like, once we get this big, long break, and she's like, okay, I'm watching everything just so I could see how you tie this all together here, Stephen Moffat. You're an evil genius.
I agree. He got into a lot of troubles apparently for series arcs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All starting back with especially with Matt Smith's clever cracking time. Yeah, which didn't get resolved again until the 50th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then you realise that actual crack is where Gallifrey is, which was brilliant. I didn't mind it, but then again, I'm a 42-year-old bloke. I've got that kind of patience to actually watch TV and watch clever TV.
Yeah.
I can understand if you're part of the disposable generation that you couldn't give a rat's ass for that, and that's fine. I haven't worked out what the series is, because he said there is an arc this series. I haven't worked out what it is. We know something's going to happen to Clara.
Yeah.
We're told it's going to be quite foreboding. There's various foreboding looks. There's various ways that Clara as a character has been treated, um, copied by Zygon Bonnie. And let's be honest, Clara as a slightly evil character was fantastic. You talk about Osgood being smoking. I had no love for Clara until the Zygon episode, and then I was just like, well, actually, hello, Clara, hello. Um, so I'm not quite sure where his arc is going. Um,
It's.
well,
I have a feeling it's going to be something with, much like with Matt Smith, where you had the cracks in the wall that were just this little behind the scenes thing, and then he gets to the last one and it's just be like, "Have you figured it out yet?" Nope. Well, here it is. Here's why you're an idiot. Or at least that's how I feel when I watch some of this stuff. I'm like, "Ah, I saw that the whole time and I missed it."
yeah. So I'm being attacked.
No,
See, Brad's not the only one that has recording issues with Beasts.
oh, you mean like scene stealing dogs behind me
Yeah.
that I cleverly block? But no, so yeah, Doctor Who, I really enjoyed this episode. Beat's asking a great question. What did you think of the Doctor breaking the fourth wall?
I don't think he did break the fourth wall.
In the intro, not of this past week, but with when he was talking about who created or who played Beethoven's fifth.
Yeah, I don't think he was breaking the fourth wall. Just like in Listen, in the previous series, I don't think he broke the fourth wall when he was writing on the blackboard. I think he does that. I think he'll launch into this. I don't. I do it when I'm thinking. I will strut around and I will literally verbalize what I'm thinking rather than keep it bottled up in my head. And I think that's what he was doing. He was also, also having a jam session. He'd plugged in. Who knows? Maybe he's been on the space source. Oh no, you can't do that because it's not cool to put space in front of something to make it sound more spacey. He demonstrated that in Sleep No More.
Yeah.
But I don't actually think he did. But even if he did, I think the Doctor is, he's a couple of thousand years old. I think he's got quite a level of self-awareness where he can get away with that.
Yeah.
He didn't break the fourth wall like Deadpool, for instance, would break the fourth wall. Deadpool addresses directly to you. He's looking at you. He's addressing you. He's not addressing, an imaginary. Well, actually, he's Deadpool. He probably is addressing an imaginary large bunny or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was. And I know that. And if you actually look at any of the fan sites, there is a lot of toing and froing as whether he did or not. I chose to believe that he wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, for all I know, he could have been looking at a console. It's just that console has a camera on it. It's like at the moment I'm looking at my web. I'm looking at the laptop. It's got a camera on it. It's directly in front of me. But am I breaking the fourth wall, or am I talking as I'm typing? Yeah, it's.
Okay, I feel like I need to enjoy some consumables now to fully grasp where you're starting to go with that. But no, I mean, Doctor Who, like with that part, with breaking the fourth wall, or possibly breaking the fourth wall, possibly not. If it is, that's cool. It's a little shout, like saying, "Hey, you pay attention closely to the audience." I'm starting to agree with you where it's not necessarily just that, where it's saying, "Hey, it's Stephen Moffat going, pay attention. Stuff's gonna go down. You're gonna get lost, but wait till the end, where everything will be explained." While he's setting up for the Fisher King
Do you
parts.
do you not think that was a bit Bill and Ted though? That the whole way that they're hooking music into his time traveling police box.
I
I say that with affection as well, not a
no,
bad thing.
I've never seen Bill and Ted, so I couldn't tell you. Um, but I think that's more like Steven might have had the idea of doing something with like this, or this could be Peter Capaldi, but he needed a right actor because not just do a little bit or something a little behind the scene that's not really like a central theme with Matt Smith, who I'm going to assume doesn't play the guitar, or David Tennant, who I'm going to assume doesn't play the guitar. And like here, because Peter Capaldi was in a band,
Yeah.
uh, now trivially with Craig Ferguson, like, and so it's just one of those things that it's just something that he's like, oh hey, we can do this, or this is his version of Matt Smith insisting on or wanting to wear a fez, or like some of the little fashion choices that Matt Smith made with the Doctor in his run.
But it's interesting how they've let Capaldi run with the guitar
Mm-hmm.
to the extent of letting him choose the guitar that the Doctor would have. They took him to an antique guitar store. Little things like that is. I don't think there's any other show on TV where you would get the lead character given so much leeway.
No, I don't think there is. I mean, and I'm including like some of the like big American ones here, like that. You have the where the stars are just gigantic egos that
Yeah.
that decide they're going to come out of the trailer for so long just to do the scene, and then once they say cut and they're done, they go right back. Um, but no, I mean, I don't know, I'm still well in love with Doctor Who. I don't know about Corey or whatnot, but let's switch gears. Have you seen the second episode of Peep Show, or just the first
No,
one?
no, I haven't. Just the first one,
Okay.
because of when things are on TV. I have to balance, and then it's on one of the things that I have to download now just to watch
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it
So
clashes with another show.
yeah, so Peep Show, for those of you who don't know, this is the show that started a good while back ago because they're on their ninth series right now. Um, their ninth and final series, and this is one of those landmark staples, in my opinion, of modern British television. And I'm saying modern because that would mean the reboot of Top Gear, but not necessarily the original Top Gear, or the reboot of Doctor Who, but not necessarily the original Doctor Who. And going on like that. But Peep Show stars David Mitchell and Robert Webb. Yeah, I got that right.
Yeah.
I always get like, I'm like, wait, do I got the first names matching with the last names? Um, and it's interesting because the whole series, and I'm talking series as a whole, not just like one season, as us dumb Americans will say. Um, it's shot in first person.
It's it's incredible that that I know we just talked about Doctor Who and how they've just done their found footage, and it's sort of that. But the way the viewer is in the headspace of the characters is it still is brilliant. It still
Oh
is
yeah,
a really clever way of of moving the story along, especially as you hear their conscious thoughts as well, which is you know which is normally Jeremy going, God, you're such a wanker.
yeah, yeah.
It's yeah.
No, and it's brilliant, and I'm realizing now I shouldn't have watched the second episode of this season if you haven't seen it.
No, no,
Be-
no. It's because I do podcasts, yeah, and I read news items for my podcasts. Yeah, there is no such thing as spoiling now for
yeah,
me because the whole world is now a melting pot. Yeah, if I wanted to avoid spoilers, that means I would have to avoid going online.
no, yeah.
Um, yeah, I work in IT. That can't happen.
But no, because I mean, the first episode this season, it it was okay. Like it was because I think Peep Show had been off for 2 years, like 2 3 years
Yeah, I
now.
think it had been. I think it had been. Yeah.
Um, and like I think in between the seasons we got the another season of That Metro Web Look, and then they both did their thing separately, and then we get back and it's them coming together, and um And the description that was on Channel 4's website about the episode didn't seem to match what I just watched when I watched the first episode. Because it's like, oh,
The first episode upset me a little bit
yeah.
because it made it quite clear no Dobby, which is such a shame because the actress, comedian actress that plays it, Izzy Sooty, is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they more than made up for that with Super Hands.
Oh, yeah, Super Hands. Super Hands is the one part for both episodes that I've thoroughly enjoyed in both episodes. And I will say this, Dobby is in the second episode.
Yay! I've got such a soft spot for Izzy Sooty. She, as well as her TV work, she's a stand-up comic that writes songs.
Mm-hmm.
She's absolutely fantastic. She's a great talent, and she needs more TV exposure because she deserves to have a nerd-like following.
Oh yeah,
of nerds like me.
Yeah.
Not in a creepy way. Just
No, I understand completely. But like the first episode, it didn't seem to match the description. But that's a minor complaint. I always have minor complaints with a lot of things I really really enjoy. I liked how they got into things, but it did scream a little bit of final season or final series. Let's have the mention or the showing of the boss, and then of Dobby, and of all these other, like much like the American version of The Office had towards the end, and a lot of other shows that it's like, okay, especially when they announce it's the final season, so okay, so we're gonna have this shout out. IT Crowd, great example of this with their special. Like they go through all of it, and you get to the end, you're like,
but the IT Crowd, their last ever episode was deliberately written as a fan-pleasing episode.
No, yeah, but it's also one episode.
I don't think Peep Show is going down that route. I don't think they're going to write this episode this series as a fan-pleasing series.
No,
I think they are going to write it as an end, an end to the story of two men who are now in their 40s, basically flat sharing.
Yeah, no, yeah, like I definitely agree with that. But I think the point I'm trying to get at is it's going to have the fan-pleasing moments, sort of like in the IT Crowd, where you get to the end and Roy picks up the phone and he goes, "Hello, IT, have you tried turning it on and off again?" Just for the sake of doing it. It wasn't a plot point. It was this. Much like in the first episode, bringing in the boss, that was Jeremy's boss for the longest time, and here, where it was brilliant, it didn't quite seem to fit into the plot. At least for my liking. The second episode, I'm honestly excited to see where they go, because the second episode does some things that I'm sitting here going, this is either because of the times. Jeremy in there has this debate on who he is as a person, who he is sexually, and all this. And so I'm like, is that just for where we are now at the times, or what? Because where I am enjoying how this goes, it just seems like it threw me. I'm like, wait, but he was always talking about liking girls, like especially like Dobby, the last series that they were in. How do you get to hear, especially in his thoughts?
I think that's because you've got two British men in their 40s, and British men are quite repressed, apparently, according to the rest of the world when it comes to how we're portrayed outwardly. So I think that's probably where it comes from, and I think that is done as mainly as inward self-deprecation towards the British more than, because I I don't know whether how well the some of the British humour translates, because some of the British humour can be quite niche.
Hmm.
But then again, the same is said for any local humour. I know there's American shows I watch where I'm sure some people find it, the funniest, and I'm just like, I just don't get it. So maybe there is an element of that. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see the second one now, and then I'll send you a message and I'll let you know.
No, yeah, yeah. Um, so real quick, I want to take a break. We'll do starts and stops here. It's a shortened version of starts and stops. Um, excuse me, because we're doing this 2 days later. So starting with tomorrow, Thursday, November 19th, or the 19th of November for Darryl, how they say it in the rest of the world. At 3:01 a.m., you have the series premiere on Crackle of The Art of More. An interesting thing here, they're doing the Netflix route of boom, everything's out there. 8 p.m. on NBC is the fifth season fall finale of Heroes Reborn. 9 p.m. on NBC is the third season fall finale of The Blacklist. And then at 10 p.m. on Spike TV is the 1 hour special presentation of Lip Sync Battle, the Lip Sync Battle Holiday Special. And then NBC also has the first season finale at 10 p.m. of The Player, which I think Evan said got canceled, or it's really on the ropes. Friday at 12:01 a.m., you have episodes 2 through 10 on Amazon of The Man in the High Castle coming out. So it's essentially the series premiere. At 3:01 a.m., what everyone's going to be watching on Netflix, the series premiere of Marvel's Jessica Jones, which, surprising little tidbit, because I didn't feel like it warranted being a full news story. Jessica Jones was originally going to be on ABC, the same channel here in America that airs Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And from knowing the source material, wow, that would have been pushing boundaries in 2010 when they were first talking about doing that. Or there'd have to be a lot of rewrites. 10 p.m. on HBO, you have the 13th season finale of Real Time with Bill Maher. And then at 11:59 on Comedy Central is the 2 hour second season finale of Trip Tank. On Saturday, 8 p.m. on Lifetime, you have the original telefilm Jim Henson's Turkey Hollow. And at 10 p.m., in honor of Corey, who is not here, you have on FYI the series premiere of Tiny House World, a Petit Chateau in Paris. Sunday at 9 p.m. on History, you have the ninth season premiere of Axemen, and PBS has the 2 hour first season finale of Indian Summers, originally a Channel 4 production. And then at 10 p.m. on Comedy Central is the 1 hour special presentation of Trevor Noah, Lost in Translation. And then 11 p.m. on HBO is the second season finale of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Monday at 9 p.m. on HBO is the special presentation 3.5 minutes, or 10 bullets. Yeah, 3.5 minutes, 10 bullets. 10 p.m. on NBC is the first season fall finale of Blind Spot. And at 10:01 p.m. on ABC is the 8th season fall finale of Castle. And that is starts and stops because Final Curtains hasn't really changed. Actually, no, it has Jane the Virgin on CW dropped in to On the Bubble, and iZombie got out of the bubble. But other than that, but according to my sources, one Mr. Evan Rockdy, things should be changing next week. I should be announcing some canceled shows here soon, which I don't want to see, but then I sort of want to see because then I have something to talk about in that point. But that is starts and stops. So, The Apprentice. I'm assuming this is the UK version with Lord Sugar, and not the American
Yes,
version with the dude who has the comb forward, who could be God, I hate saying it, but possibly running this country.
dude. Let's hope not. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to get political or out, but really, really, America, really. Anyway, yeah, the Apprentice. Now it's it's one of my guilty pleasures. We're all allowed a few guilty pleasures. Some people who know me might think, what? But how's that connected to superheroes or space? And it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something about watching a collection of people who should be more intelligent fail so miserably. I think it's life affirming, because you watch these people who go, yes, well, I've got my 3 degrees from university in business, finance, and economics, and I've got this great business idea which I'm going to pitch to Lord Sugar, and he's going to be my business partner. And then you see the guy, and he's going, oh, but what is 15% of 100? And you're just like, are you such a loser? And it's sort of life affirming. And we're taught as we grow up, it's wrong to single out people and point and laugh. But The Apprentice exists so you feel a little bit better about yourself by watching an entertainment show, because it is entertainment at the end of the day. It's a reality show. Yes, Pete. He is a literal sugar daddy. It's such an affirming show, and it's probably not. It's probably lost its way from its original roots. And I don't know what the USA version is like. I've only ever watched a small bit of the celebrity version of the USA version, which I know is.
See, here's the thing, though, and this is sort of what I miss. The original was closer to that, where you had business people on there doing business things and making stupid mistakes. Then they had the celebrity version, and the celebrity version, because we here in America are obsessed with celebrity, they just went, okay, here we go, boom, and just watch all the stuff. Like, you come in here, watch Arnold Schwarzenegger, do this or do that. You watch. It got to the point where the celebrities were like, wait, who is this guy? Oh, he was on an episode of Baywatch or something. Like how Dancing with the Stars has become here in America, and probably to the same degree Strictly Come Dancing is done over in the UK. But yeah, so I mean, and I've seen a little bit of the the UK version of The Apprentice, and I do enjoy that one a lot more, if not for for just the fact of Lord Sugar. Like, I saw him on the Graham Norton show a couple years ago, and they were talking about Donald Trump, and he's just blatantly just like, I'd kick his ass. And I'm like, yes, that's a dude I like.
They have regular fallings out on Twitter. Lord Sugar is great on Twitter because at least he can use the English language, and no disrespect to Donald Trump, because I don't want to get sued. However, this is my personal opinion and not the opinion of the Else Nerds or their network. But how the hell did he earn billions of pounds? Because the guy's a fucking monkey.
I'm sorry, but as one of the Else Nerds, yes, I fully agree with that.
Oh, I'm going to get sued.
Does he want the Marvel poster? Does he want the Star Wars poster?
He can have my Batman dressing gown. That's But honestly, it's just like, I don't. And that's one of the reasons why I like Alan Sugar. The fact is, Alan Sugar did start off 17-year-old selling stuff from his bedroom. You know, he's a barra boy from London. You know, there's lots about him to like. He's quite, but he also brought us one of the home computers in the UK. He brought us the Amstrad.
Yeah.
So he has been an innovator as well. So he's not like he's a total chump. I mean, he's brought us some terrible products as well. Such as the you'll never have seen this, but it's called the Amstrad Emailer, and it was a phone. It was a phone with a small screen and a small keyboard that you could email from. You're thinking already, but I've got one of those in my pocket. I've got a smartphone. Yeah, this was way ahead of its time. But the reason it failed is because you had to pay to send your email, and it was almost the same price as a stamp. So, so why would you do that?
Yeah.
He had the right idea, but the wrong way of implementing it, and it failed. It was an absolute turkey.
Yeah.
But everyone seemingly wants to forget that. Yeah. Yes, Lord Sugar. And it's just little bits of yes, Lord Sugar. Yeah. I mean, they might as well march him on to the Imperial March. Yeah. I'm fairly certain that when they set the tasks in the American version, they do it as well, where they'll wheel him out, and all of a sudden he's on a balcony. It's just like, why is he on a balcony? Yeah. What? He's on a balcony to give me a tenuous link. I'm at the world's largest bookshop. Excellent, the world's largest bookshop. So what's the task? And as you know, books and people that work in bookshops, yeah, that takes manpower. And when it comes to manpower, you'll need to be able to shovel shit. Hang on, you're in a bookshop. How have you linked being in a bookshop to shoveling? Oh no, you've done it. And I think it's part of his.
Well, hold on. Here's the connection, because you missed in the background was the shit books.
Well, but that is as tenuous as The Apprentice gets, and it's just a joy to watch. It's a joy to see how the UK has taken something and made it very, very British.
Yeah.
And I for that reason, it's hard not to love it.
No, that's cool. So let's talk about some of the American shows. We're gonna take a break from essentially Pod Save the Queen and do so Flash, Arrow, and Supergirl, the superhero shows that you're.
Well, let me tell you something. As you probably know, I also run my own podcast empire.
Yes.
And I use the word empire because it's called Imperial Steam. And the idea of that is to talk about shows from the Commonwealth. And all those shows you've mentioned, they're not American. They're Canadian.
This is true. Yeah, because they're all filmed in Vancouver.
Yes.
So think about that, Americans. Whenever you're watching your shows, and like, oh, they're produced from Americans. Well,
next time Donald Trump tells you he wants to erect a fence across the border, just think, yeah, no more Flash, no more Arrow, no more Supergirl,
no more Supernatural, no more Psych. Oh wait, Psych already ended. Oh, darn tear. But no, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that airs in there. But so let's talk about the superhero shows, and I'll phrase it that way. So Arrow, just had the Enter Zoom episode air over in the UK. We just had what is it, Guerrilla Warfare, which is basically the Return of Grodd. So first, how did you feel about Zoom? How did you feel about the presence of Zoom?
Now, I'm a Marvel nerd. I'm not a DC nerd.
Same
I'm
here.
familiar with the DC characters to a certain extent. Flash is I think they've captured the quirkiness. Now by bringing Zoom in, they've hinted that it's dark. There's a dark thing there, yeah. And I'm hoping that they remember that it's a light-hearted comic book show, that it's not Arrow. But I really, really liked how they portrayed Zoom, how they've given him this almost demonic presence on the show, because it's something so different. It's going to be a common theme, no matter how long Flash runs now, that they're going to be other speedsters. That is you know, they set that from day one, that there are other people that go fast. The good thing about having any big sinister bad is that it doesn't always go. You can push them into different multiverses. You can do whatever you like with them. Yeah, they'll always come back, and that's kind of what I like. And that's you know, it's the reoccurring threat and the threat of the threat.
Yeah.
But it's pure comic book action, and that's one of the things that I just love about the show.
That's true. And this is something that me and Corey complained about with when Flash began is you have they're announcing and featuring a lot of great characters in Flash's Rogues Gallery. Um, but it wasn't until we got to Captain Cold that we didn't see them die. Like Girder was a great example. They were like, oh hey, maybe there's hope that they're not going to kill off every single Flash villain out there, and then 3 episodes later, oh he's dead, and it's like, I got to this point where I'm like, okay, you're gonna run out of villains for the Flash to have if you keep this up. If you keep just, oh here's Atom Smasher, and oh Atom Smasher's dead while he says zoom
I
and all that.
don't. The one thing that annoys me, and I will agree with you on that one. I don't think they need to do a Monster of the Week show. I think they can write it cleverer than that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they needed to lay some ground rules, which is the multiverse. I think early on in Flash, you need to put in the multiverse. I would like to see eventually Flash move forward in time, and actually, and I suppose that might even happen in Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But by introducing the multiverse, you've now got pretty much, I was going to say an infinite. You've got 52 versions of the same bad guy.
Well, let's just put it to you this way: the comic book limited run was not called Crisis on 52 Universe or Earths. It was Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's DC. They're skewing away from the new 52 saying, but still giving the hint of 52. It's like, ha, you get it, you get it, you get it. It's like, yes, we get it. Much like the other Easter eggs that I love, but it's like, okay, quit bashing us over the head with 52. Sort of deal.
Well, they put the Easter eggs in for people like us that get it. Yeah. Mainly so we can turn up at work the next day and lord it all over people. Yeah. In the vain hope that we're going to help them sell more product.
Yeah.
Because there is the danger of that with superhero TV, that it's geared up just for the consumer society to buy more things.
Mm-hmm. But I will say right now that they are also running into a problem with what you were talking about earlier about, that they don't need the Monster of the Week and then setting up a multiverse. I see that as a season 3, maybe even season 4, if there's something else that they got to flesh out. Because if they were to start right away with multiverse, a lot of people who started watching The Flash would be lost.
Yeah.
Because then it goes very quickly into Doctor Who, and then you get the critical people going, but how does it work? And when your best answer is timey-wimey, it doesn't exactly sell the show. Or it's comic books sort of deal. And B is bringing up a great point about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has to keep the villains alive because they have a small roster of good villains, and the Flash can allow itself to kill off the villains without being afraid to run out of them. While it is true, it also comes across the same problem that you have with the Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man has, with Marvel, one of the best rogues galleries. It's like whenever people think of villains on either side, they think of Spider-Man's villains, Batman's villains, and then Flash's villains out of all of them, because there's a lot in all that category. And it's like, and with the Spider-Man movies, you saw Green Goblin, you saw hints at the Lizard in both, you saw Doc Ock. It was the tentpole, Sinister Six in a way. But then there's only 4.
I'll come on to that in a minute, but I will tell you how the Flash can do that. They can kill off absolutely every single one of them. And they can't just do it once, they can do it multiple times. Because all it takes, is Barry Allen to cock up severely, where he then has to go back in time to fix it.
Yeah.
And I know that's a get out of jail, that's a MacGuffin, that's a Des Exma, but that is also a story of consequences. And so that's how they can do it, because you've got a superhero who is meant to be the happy-go-lucky one. Yeah. But the Flash soon does become, or potentially does become, someone with a very heavy heart, because he knows what's happened. Yeah. He's already been back in time and knows that, yeah, he can save his mother at any one single point, because he knows he can run fast enough. But he also knows when he runs fast enough, weird shit starts to happen. There's been the singularity. It has fractured time. Yeah, he knows that there are consequences for doing that. But that doesn't mean he can't do it, and doesn't mean he won't do it.
Yeah. No, yeah. And, I mean, this is where the other part that I've loved about this is the fact that they are hinting at and showing off all these speedsters without them being speedsters, without them being...
I love that about Jay Garrick.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that about him. But let's be honest, yeah, when Jay gets his speed back, we are going to lose our shit.
No, yeah. And the same
that
thing
is what we want. We want Barry and we want Jay. Just bang. Yeah.
No, yeah. And it's also like that with them hinting at Wally West, with them showing us Jesse Quick. And it's like, all right, yes, you're showing us speedsters, but they're not all speedsters. Great on ya, because we are either going to get origin or rebirth stories in the way of Jay Garrick getting his powers back, and even other great villains like Gorilla Grodd coming in, like it was with this last week, and even then, and I'm trying to remain spoiler free as much as I can.
No. Honestly, it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
But like overall concept wise, because they left it open ended, and they left it comic book open ended. They left it to where I'm like, ooh, we could get Gorilla Grodd coming back with the helmet, with basically doing Planet of the Apes, like they've done numerous times at DC. I'm like, I love it. I freaking love the idea. And that's the same thing I'm having here right here. It's like with Arrow and Flash, I'm seeing, okay, you're teasing so heavily at Legends of Tomorrow. You're teasing so heavily, like with Arrow episode of Ray Palmer growing, or them rescuing Ray Palmer. It's like, okay, he comes back just to then be over here on Legends. They bring back Sarah just so she could be the White Canary over on Legends. They do same thing with Captain Cold and Firestorm over on Flash, and it's like, all right, but you're going to be spreading yourself too thin here, or scrounging around to find a story very soon once Legends starts up.
Well, no, I disagree. And that's because you brought up Spider-Man, so I'm going to have to address that.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man does not spend all of his time battling superpowered foes.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man is a vigilante. He's a vigilante-style hero, and the main domain of Spider-Man was street thugs.
Yep.
And the same is for anyone that protects a city. For anyone that protects a city, it is street thugs which should get their asses kicked. Because you don't get a supervillain every week cropping up. Because let's be honest, if you did, how soon would you move out that city? You'd be like, Star City, I'm really sorry, but yeah, I can't be here because people keep getting fucking killed. This is really bad. Yeah.
Well,
why would you want to live there? You wouldn't go for a coffee there because you know that coffee shop's been turned over several times by high-powered people. Yeah. You wouldn't. You wouldn't. Street Thugs is where it's at, and it's where it's at for Spider-Man, and it's the one thing that they didn't do properly in any of the films. Sam Raimi tried it in the first film, and then sadly lost his way. And since then, there hasn't been a decent Spider-Man film.
Fingers crossed for the new one.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, as a Spider-Man fan, that's more me. Like,
Well, as someone who is a massive Spider-Man fan, yeah, you're right, B. You're right. Batman does love to beat up his street-level thugs. That is what Batman does. Batman is a vigilante. He goes around to protect his city. He doesn't go around to just take on superpowered villains. And if you actually look at the Batman films, yeah, they haven't crammed in. Yeah, and then there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this. They haven't done that. And the Flash on TV doesn't have to do that. It's not the supervillains that gets me watching. It's the journey of Barry Allen. And that is one of the things they can do. And if you notice on Arrow, that's not what they do on Arrow. On Arrow, yeah, they have the main threat, but they don't tend to cram in. And then there's this metahuman and this supervillain, and then there's this one.
yeah.
No.
They just bring in John Constantine, and then with the hopes of, and get all the hopes up and want everyone to bring him back on the CW.
Yeah. Look, it's not going to happen. He's not going to get his own show back.
And honestly, I don't want him to have his show back. I want him on there as a recurring character.
Yeah,
that's what I'm willing to settle with.
Yeah, and I actually think that's what's going to happen. The show Constantine was too similar to Supernatural, and that's one of the reasons why it didn't work. And also, Matt Ryan's Liverpudlian accent's crap. No, that's a little bit of light trolling.
No. Yeah. So I just want to add the fact that whenever I read the Constantine comic book, that's how I just differentiate the two. I hear it in his voice, but whatever. So QI, I have talked about this show a few times. I think Corey's even talked about it because it aired. Hulu had it for a little bit, but they got old episodes. So QI, British TV show just announced that Stephen Fry's done with the show after this series, which is series, is it M or N? M, that's it.
N.
Yeah, and I'm so in love with the show that I listen to the podcast associated with it called No Such Thing as a Fish.
It's a fantastic podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, so brilliant. I love the podcast because it gives you these facts that are on there, and then they make all these jokes. I'm like, sitting there going, oh my gosh. And I hate to say it, but it's better than We Have Concerns. And I love Jeff Kanata and Anthony Carboni. And I'm like, there's something about this one where it's just, I love this more. But QI, they've had 4 or 5 episodes so far. And
yeah.
brought in Clarkson, which, okay, I am a Top Gear fan, so I'm going to preface that. And they even hit on the whole Top Gear thing and found it really funny and all that. But I love the learning part. Like, you're laughing, but then you're like, oh wait, yeah, I'm learning too. Like,
I do like that about it. I like the fact it's basically an encyclopedia show.
Yeah.
With comedians, but most comedians are, been to university. They know a few things. It sounds like my daughter's kicking off upstairs.
You should be in bed.
With regards to Stephen Fry leaving, it's in safe hands with the person who's taking over it, which is a comedian called Sandy Toksvig.
Yeah.
Now that'll probably mean absolutely nothing to yourself.
I from what the article I heard, wasn't she the host? I know she hosted a Channel 4 show before.
Well, this is it. She's been around quite a long time. She originally hosted a kids' TV show when I was growing up, which was quite an anarchic show, which you want from a kids' TV show. but the last sort of thing she's done is a Radio 4 show, which is the news quiz.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
the news quiz is a stalwart of British radio.
Yeah.
And she's just, I mean, she's about 4 foot tall. She's small, but she is knowledgeable, funny. She has cutting, biting wit. She's an absolute excellent fit for QI. It's in safe hands. I can understand why you'd want to leave QI after doing so many series, because there's only so many times you can, tell the same knob joke before you're like, I'm telling the same knob joke.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's.
Um,
And I mean, I don't know. I don't really have too much to say because I haven't seen an episode in a couple weeks because of the whole Children in Need thing that was going on with the BBC. Which is not a knock at all, but against, like, oh, they're doing pledge drives or whatever. I'm like, no, it's just I get a little break and I get to check out some other stuff like the show Josh that I enjoyed.
um, so I've got a soft spot for Josh Widdicombe.
Oh yeah, no, same here.
He just comes across as so nice. He's the sort of, he really is nice and chilled out guy. He does
Yeah.
he does a comedy show on Channel 4 called The Last Leg.
I love The Last Leg.
Last Leg is fantastic.
Yes.
It's so wrong. It's just like it's the comedy. It's Top Gear for comedians.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to try to relate it here to America, where it's like Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, but you then throw in Larry Wilmore and Trevor Noah just for added benefit of it. Like, that's basically The Last Leg, where you get the rants that you get from John Oliver with Adam Hills, and then
Adam
you
Hills
get.
is a genius.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Originally, he wasn't going to do that. He wasn't going to do those rants, and then he did one, yeah, and the internet lost it, and he just took to his own and went, everyone quite likes it when, I know we're moving away from QI now, but everyone likes it when you pull someone to pieces and then call them a dick. They like that, and that's, I'd actually like to see. I don't know if Adam has been on QI. I actually think
yeah, and yes,
he has. Excellent. It is. It's just one of those British shows, and I think all British panel shows are a little bit homogenised like that.
mm-hmm.
But I don't care for one moment that they have, that they will have the mixture of people that they do. The only one thing that I have against the panel shows now is there was a rule made on the BBC that states you have to have a female on the panel shows. Now that doesn't sound too bad, that
Yeah.
makes sense. But there isn't the great wealth of female talent like there is for blokes.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it really difficult. And then when you watch it, it makes it look like they've deliberately, they've just chosen you because you're a girl and just put them in there. And that's the only thing that I have against QI and QI. They could put so many different female talents in, but they don't. So I'm hoping
No, yeah,
when Stephen leaves and we get Sandy Toksvig, I'm hoping that changes and that actually addresses the balance, because it needs addressing, because otherwise it does look like it's just been shoehorned in.
yeah. Because like right when you said that, the first thing I was thinking of was, I think Mock the Week does it the cleanest. Where you will see, it won't be like, oh, she's on here because she's a girl. It's no, she's on here because she's hilarious.
Yeah.
But then out of the women who are on Mock the Week, I think the ones that you'll see on other panel shows with regularity is Roisin Kennedy and Catherine Ryan.
Yeah.
And that's really it. And it's a shame because there's a lot of other funny women that are on Mock the Week that would kill on QI or or I'm blanking on other names of podcasts or panel shows, or Last Leg, or 8 out of 10 Cats, or Cats Does Countdown. You know,
Cats does Countdown. Fantastic. What?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. That's basically like,
Countdown is a typically British tea time little quiz show. Yeah.
yeah.
It's very serious. It has wordsmiths and numbersmiths.
Hmm.
Has Susie Dent in Dictionary Corner. It's all very serious. It's been
Yeah,
on the been on the TV well since I was at school, so 30 odd years. For Channel 4 to take one of its trusted brands and give it to Jimmy Carr and let him do whatever the hell he likes with it, yeah, should have been dangerous.
yeah.
But it has actually turned into one of the finest comedy things on TV
And it's
because
killed
because
8 out of 10 Cats.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, no one wants.
absolutely.
They haven't done a new series for 8 out of 10 Cats in a good 2-3 years, and I'm like,
Now all of the all of the panel shows, I'm fairly certain they all come from the same people. They're
yeah,
all written by the same production people with slightly different names, like Fremantle. Well, Fremantle is Endemol. Yeah, and there's another one, and that's also Endemol, and it's all a melting pot. It's all the same show. Yeah, just slightly reworded.
hmm
Um, it's I mean, I don't know what American TV is like, but seemingly have hundreds of panel shows.
and this is the problem. This is the thing that was the common thread for when I was doing Pod Save the Queen by myself, just by myself, talking to the camera, sort of deal. I would sit here and go and talk about The Last Leg, or Never Mind the Buzzcocks, or all these different panel TV shows, and be like, we don't have this in America. The closest thing we have is At Midnight with Chris Hardwick, where it's just the comedians come on, they talk about the things that are on the internet, and make jokes and all that stuff, but that's really it. There's not. And I'm looking, I watch these TV shows, and I'm like, okay, we steal. I'm not going to say like we borrow the ideas, or we buy the rights to the ideas. No, we steal the ideas for a lot of your shows. I'm looking at The Office. I'm looking at House of Cards. I'm looking at Broadchurch, which was a big, horrible mistake and should have never happened. Grace Point should have never happened. Um, there's a lot of shows like that they bring over as a concept. They've tried the IT Crowd a couple times. They've tried Moon Boy, scripts for Moon Boy, and all that stuff. But I think the American TV channels, and I'm including all of them, through all, including the cable, you go into deep cable parts, have missed one thing, and that panel show. That is the traditional. You put it on like a quiz, and I guess they have tried with Nevermind the Buzzcocks a couple times, but I don't think it was enough to really get the audience that it could have.
Well,
Like,
I find it strange that for your comedians there is still only there's only a couple of outlets like Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is still going for you guys. It
yeah,
finished for us years ago because there's only so many times you can watch Greg Proops pretend to be a fish man. Yeah, that you go, well, how are you earning your money now?
yeah,
You know, that ceases to be funny. So maybe that is the shot in the arm that your networks need,
hmm
because it should be interchangeable. It really should. Now you mentioned some of the failed shows. You didn't mention Red Dwarf. I don't know if you're a Red Dwarf fan at all.
I've seen Red Dwarf because Red Dwarf has um I'm blanking on Nick Frost in it, right?
No,
Or
no,
no,
no.
I'm thinking of Hyperdrive.
That was
But
Hyperdrive.
yeah,
Fantastic show. Short-lived. Should have had another series.
yeah. But see, this is like because there's a lot of stuff that I will see, and I'm like, nah, I don't. I get into the Corey territory of I ain't got time to TV of that. But I've heard of Red Dwarf. I've heard of it.
Um,
I haven't seen it.
if you watch Red Dwarf, yeah, and then what you can do is you can watch a few episodes of Red Dwarf, and then you can watch some Star Trek Next Generation,
Hmm.
and you'll be going, but hang on, you've stolen a Red Dwarf story. Yeah, it's a science fiction comedy.
Yeah.
That's coming back next year. They're doing two more series.
Nice.
It's another show which didn't work in America twice,
Yeah.
and you seem to do that now. We're a global TV audience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need them to remake an American show for me to enjoy it.
No, you
And
just watch
I don't, yeah, and I don't think the American networks need to remake a British TV show to enjoy it. I think something like 8 out of 10 Cats as a panel show would work in America. It'd still be relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a show about surveys and statistics. Yeah, if you sell it like that, it's a show about surveys and statistics. No one will watch it.
Yeah.
But I think the likes of Jimmy Carr are such a good anchor. I mean, look at how James Corden is doing in America at the moment.
Oh yeah.
He's huge, but not only is he huge, but he's incredibly funny, incredibly charming, and incredibly relevant. And a lot of the shows which we have in the UK, panel shows, are the same, which is why the likes of QI, Have I Got News for You, 8 out of 10 Cats, would still work in America. I know you guys have BBC America, fantastic channel. It's a bit of a mishmash.
Yeah.
I actually think if someone was brave enough to create a new British channel where they showed shows like that, yeah, it could be the What Else Is On channel. Oh, yeah, oh.
I love that idea, and I'm gonna honest. It's like if I was in middle of Michigan, middle of the country, sort of territory, I'd be like, that'd be a great idea. I could just walk down, start picketing in front of the corporate offices. Make this channel.
Yeah, because what sells TV is advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shows that you watch, they don't matter. It's the adverts in between that actually matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hate advertising on TV, but it's a necessary evil because it means I get to watch the shows I want.
Oh yeah.
I know there are so many Anglophiles in America.
Oh yeah.
Because the weird thing about our cultures is Britain wants to be American, American wants to be British. It's the weird thing about our cultures.
Yeah.
And we get the best of it because we get a vast majority of your TV shows. I just think it should be a two-way street.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And where I'm surprised while I'm doing starts and stops, that I've seen more shows like Catastrophe. Complete utter surprise that it was on Amazon. Before that, the show Babylon, done by Danny Boyle.
But isn't Catastrophe co-funded by an American network?
By Amazon.
It is, because and the only reason I know this is through a podcast. Because when you put that on the show notes, I was just like, I'm not familiar with that. But then I listened to the Adam Buxton podcast, and I don't mind giving him a shameless plug. Yeah, you need to listen to his podcast, Adam Buxton. Yeah, then send him a tweet and tell him that UK Gnome, recommended him, because he's one of our finest comedians. He invented the YouTube clip before YouTube was invented. Yeah,
nice. With
the Adam and Joe show. You've heard of the director Joe Cornish?
Yeah.
Adam Buxton is Joe Cornish's comedy partner.
Oh, cool.
Like I say, in podcast land, it's one incestuous melting pot of little connections. Well, I listened to his podcast. Absolutely, Attack the Block, fantastic film. I listened to one of his podcasts where the chap who writes Catastrophe was on. And I was just like, I went from in a week of not knowing Catastrophe to seeing it on a document to hearing about it in my ears to now discussing it live over the internet. It's absolutely, I didn't realise how funny that show was until I did a little, and I was like, actually, Catastrophe, that's actually a really good show.
Yeah. But no,
I think
I've actually Wikipedia'd both of them because I'm like Joe Cornish. I'm like, every time I tag it back, I'm oh yeah. Um, but no, yeah, I think I've heard of Adam Buxton as well. If only the picture didn't show him in sunglasses, he looks very familiar. But no,
we're
anyway, I'm getting off track here.
I mean, you mentioned catastrophe. We're seeing a lot of TV now, which is co-produced by Britain and America.
Hmm.
We've got Catastrophe, currently showing on NBC. I think is You, Me, and the Apocalypse. It's a brilliant show. It is.
Yeah,
It's brilliant because of just parts of the humour in it. I recommend you watch that show. There you go. That's another one for you to DVR. Of course, we had Humans. I don't know if you watched Humans when it
oh
was
yeah, I
on.
loved it. That
Um,
was one that I was watching on AMC because that was the part I was getting at was the fact um, that the British invasion with television, where at first it was mainly BBC America, it's quickly went to PBS. Will get a lot like PBS is where we get Sherlock and like I mentioned, Indian Summers and you know the masterpiece stuff is typically British shows. Um, the TV show Spy that was on Channel Four
yeah.
airs on my at least on my local PBS. And I'm like, Spy, I love this show. And then Babylon was on Sundance, and it's like all these other channels are picking up British TV shows, and I love it. Logo picked up both Misfits and the TV shows Cucumber and Banana from Channel
Um,
Four.
yeah, not a fan of Russell T Davies's writing,
Yeah,
but I know how well the shows were received.
yeah, and I love that because then it's like, oh, cool. Now the stuff that I'm excited about that I find gray areas of watching, you know, with the VPN where they might not like it and whatnot. I've and I just remember like looking at here, like, isn't Rob Lowe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you mean the pack? Okay, yeah, I'm sold because with you saying it and then the fact that it's got
Um,
Rob Lowe in there.
well, it's also based in, for the majority, based in Slough, which is where The Office was based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Slough's quite a popular place. The chap who is what's his name? Because I've got it. I kept it open.
The lead,
Matthew.
Matthew Bankton.
Yeah, Matthew. Yeah. He starred with James Corden in The Wrong Mans.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got a chance to watch The Wrong Mans, both series of them. Absolutely fantastic comic delivery.
Mm-hmm.
You, Me, and the Apocalypse. It plays into obviously the science fiction part of it. I heartily recommend you listening to my opinion piece on on Imperial Steam because I haven't got my notes to hand and that was probably probably made more sense. But it is
Yeah.
it's so well written. How it drip feeds. You know how this series of The Walking Dead we've only actually had was it 3 days?
Yeah.
That's how You, Me, and the Apocalypse is sort of written. So we were on, I think it's the 6th or 7th or 8th episode, but we've only had such a short space of time, which is quite odd to do in TV world because TV world it's normally 1 week equals a set amount of time.
Yeah.
But it's well worth watching. It's charming in its own right, but of course. Rob Lowe as the sleazy, smoking, drinking priest is fantastic, and his assistant, you'll watch it and you'll go, yeah, Rob's good, but I like his assistant more.
Yeah. But no,
Yeah.
so real quick, I want to give a quick plug, shout out thing because we mentioned it earlier. But Josh, did you see the premiere of his show?
I haven't. It's DVR'd,
Yeah,
but with it being Josh Widdicombe, I pretty much know what I'm going to get from Josh.
it's I really enjoyed it. It's really funny, and I'm sitting there going, okay, is this one of those semi autobiographical based on real life things? Because it's just him and two of his friends going around, and the he's the one who's like, well, the basic plot for the pilot was he's invited to this party, and it's a pool party, and he doesn't know how to swim because he's allergic to chlorine, where his skin will turn up red, where he's gotten, I forget the nickname. It's this hilarious, like, I think it was like dog's penis or something like that was his nickname that he got for that. And but he goes because of the fact that there's a girl there that he has a crush on, that he really likes. Um, Starts hitting it off, and then worst comes worst, ends up, he gets pulled into the pool, and poof, bright red. But well, not like bright red, like completely red, but like splotchy. And his friend who was doing the pulling was like, "Oh wow, you do." He's like, "Yeah, shut up." And the Josh Widdicombe brilliant sense of humor. Um, I don't really need to sell you on it because you say you admittedly love Josh Widdicombe and his stand up. So there you go. I'm just telling everyone else, hey, check it out. It's hilarious.
Unfortunately, Josh's stint at Absolute Radio has finished because Josh again he used to do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
And again, he comes across as just a naturally funny chap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he has a wealth of other comedian friends because he's a circuit comedian. So whilst he's on TV and all that lot, his bread and butter is, going to clubs every week to perform his craft to an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, yeah, that's one of the things that I have, and I've mentioned this before in the past, but I have to give up to Trevor Noah. Like, before he got the Daily Show gig and he was just a contributor on the Daily Show, or a correspondent, he would do the club scene here in New York, or not here in New York, but in New York, and then fly over to England and maybe be on a couple panel shows, but then hit the club scene there and then fly back. And I'm like, when do you sleep exactly here? Because you are crazy if you are just like, yeah, whatever, I'm good, or I'll sleep on the plane, or whatever. But that's what sort of what you're describing to me with Josh Widdicombe. It's like except without the cross Atlantic flights, but like working, doing panel shows, and then go do the club scenes, and then next day same thing. And it's brilliant. I love hearing stuff like that. It makes me wish I had a better work ethic. But I think that just about wraps it up here for us because we're going on an hour and a half when this is supposed to be an hour show.
Okay, well, isn't that normal in podcast world? We didn't even touch on the fact that you have all our best actors on your shows. We didn't mention Lenny James. We didn't mention Walking Dead. We didn't mention any of that. But
or Andrew Lincoln. Wait, hold on. Yeah. How are you gonna mention? I know Lenny James is a great actor, but how are you gonna mention us taking all of your actors and not mention Andrew Lincoln?
Well.
Stars of such TV shows like Teachers and movies like Love Actually.
And that is true. But let's be honest, on Walking Dead at the moment, Lenny James is chewing the scenery. Every single scene he's stolen. Yeah.
So real quick, I want to mention something before I do the traditional outro, and that is we're semi together with the Elsters. Or not with Elsters, with Galactic Netcasts. Right now we're like really good friends. We're going to be merging here very soon. But Galactic Netcasts, they're doing their next Friday, so not in 2 days, but the week after, on Black Friday, we're doing a Galactic Collective get-together hangout thing for all the patrons. So support them on Patreon. You just got to do I think it's like $1 a month. The lowest one you could do, and you're helping out great content like Who News with Darryl Johnston and others like Sci-Fi Geeks Club, Adventure Party, Alien Invasion, which I think the last one featured a Brit.
Yeah.
Weird World Weekly, Podcast of Terror, which if you want to watch a similar episode to Podcast Terror, last week's episode of What Else Is On, which featured Matt Stein and both Matt and Corey. It's basically like Podcast Terror with me sitting in.
I think I've sworn more this episode than they did last episode.
That's a shock because they host the filthiest show on Galactic Netcasts.
Let's be honest. That is why you tune into Galactic Netcast, because you get the whole gamut. Yeah, you get the nice, sane, all the way through to the potty mouth. Well,
yes,
you're right. Patreon is a great way of funding. $1 a month. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
you wouldn't even pick that up in the street. You'd walk past that. If you saw $1 on the floor, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. I ain't bending down for $1. I've got principles. I've got morals, man. I don't bend down for $1.
And you can find all that by going to their website, along with all the other great shows, like I mentioned, by going to their website at gncasts.com. It's in their blog. It's on the blog page there. So that wraps up for us. You can check us out on Facebook. We're at Eltsner or Eltsners.com. We are at Eltsners on Twitter. At UK Gnome for Darryl. I'm at that Gregor. And you can join our Facebook group at facebook.eltsners.com, watch.eltsners.com, where you can go to find all our videos. You can send us mail at eltsners.com. And we record What Else Is On just about every Monday night, because I know it's not Monday because of work things, but basically, with the little odds and ends of things getting in the way, it's going to be every Monday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Western. What is it, 12:30 Greenwich Mean Time?
Sorry, no, because right now it's 4:00 in the morning. So if it's 9, I don't know. I told you this
It's 11
earlier.
now. No, yeah, I had it right. It'd be 12:30 or 2. Wait, I don't know, confusing. Figure it out the rest of the place. There's websites that help you out do that. And the only other thing to say is this has been a Don't Tell Glenn production. We will see you guys next time.
Bye all.